And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup. They'll let you know what happened overnight when things transpire you whilst you sleep. Right there in the loop you keep.
So, welcome to the first day of the final test from Hamilton in New Zealand. I'm pleased to say that Hector Vickers is hanging in there. He's very intrepid as the Guerilla cricket representative in New Zealand. He's been following every step of every day of this tour. And he's here to share with us how today went. Welcome once again, Hector.
Evening, Messi. Another great day. A day that started that you thought it might be the only normal day that we've had this series, but yeah, that evening session sort of turned it around and got back to normality almost, as what it's sort of come to be known now.
So England won the toss and put New Zealand into bat. They ended the day on 315 for 9 off 82 overs. What was the general feeling when England chose to field?
Well, it was a little bit of a surprise. It had been raining a couple of days before this match, but the forecast was, it's meant to be 28 degrees all over the weekend, very sunny. But this morning, I think Stokes is very much sort of what he sees is what will go off. And this morning it was very cloudy, very overcast. And I think similarly to Wellington, the last 11 captains that have won the toss here have chosen to bowl. So there's definitely a method to it. But when you choose to bowl as a captain, you've kind of got to bowl a team out in a day. So he'll be a little bit disappointed with that, I think. But yeah, a little bit surprised. But I guess that's just Stokes going off the cloudy conditions that we had this morning.
Well, he'd be happier now than he was at lunch, because by lunchtime, New Zealand have reached 93 for no loss. How was it going at that stage?
Yeah, 93 for no loss. Obviously, Will Young coming in for the first time since he got player of the series in India and the Kiwi historic win over there. So, yeah, he had obviously felt a little bit hard done by not being in the team up until then. So, sort of came out with a point to prove. He looked really nice. And yeah, batted well with his captain, Tom Latham, who ended up getting 63 off 135 balls. But in fact, he actually had 25% of full shots to get there. So it was a little bit of a strange innings from him. But yeah, New Zealand went in at 93 for naught. England would have been really frustrated. I think that's probably the poorest they've bowled all series in that morning session. They were just a little bit too wide, conceded a lot of byes. Stokes bowled a lot today. He actually bowled the most he's done since his knee surgery in 2022. But yeah, England just didn't really look in the form that they have been in that morning session. So yeah, New Zealand were well on top going into lunch.
Yeah, there was a catch dropped too, I think, wasn't there?
Yeah, Latham was dropped on 4 by Duckett. It was sort of a half chance. But yeah, I mean, I guess sort of New Zealand kind of deserved it after Christchurch.
Yeah,
deserved a bit of fortune on their side.
So it wasn't looking good for England at lunchtime. What changed after lunch?
Not much to begin with. I mean, they kept on going. Will Young, Atkinson eventually got Young. Harry Brook took a nice catch at second slip. So Young went for 42. And then Kane Williamson came in to the crease. He has an unbelievable record here at Seddon Park. I think it's something like 19 innings, averages 95, and has had 600 and 550. So he was expected to keep going. And he looked so comfortable against the English bowling that still looked a bit lackluster early on. Until Latham was dropped again on 53, this time off the bowling of Potts, who looked very frustrated. And then a couple overs later, Pope eventually got him. Latham's sort of feathered one down the leg side, and Pope took a comfortable catch. And then sort of since then, England started to gain some momentum. Williamson looked really comfortable and got really unlucky after lunch on 44. Sort of went for a forward defence, and Williamson always sort of tends to time the ball late. Mitch Santa was saying in the interview at the end of the day that they sort of give him a bit of stick because he's had it coming, but he sort of played a late defensive shot and the ball rolled back onto the stumps despite Williamson's attempt to kick it away. but yeah, sorry, that was after tea. But before that, Ravindra came in. He's had a really poor series, but he looked pretty comfortable against Matty Potts. I don't know if you caught it up on TV, but they were having quite a fierce exchange of words at one point. It looked like a proper test battle, and then he just gave his wicket away 5 minutes before tea, wafted it a wide one, gave Duckett. Duckett finally got a catch, really comfortable catch. So yeah, he went for 18, and New Zealand were still really comfortable at 172 for 3.
Yeah, but I mean, certainly the sense I had by tea was that New Zealand really didn't turn up to the first 2 tests in a lot of ways. And at lunchtime, I thought, well, maybe they finally arrived. By tea time, we felt like we were back in that same loop of them throwing away a strong position. And it was sort of 50-50 at tea time, I thought.
Yeah, well, I think so. Yeah, they obviously were 80 for 3 in that afternoon session. But if you look at, obviously, Ravindra threw his wicket away, you take that away, and they're only 2 down with probably their 2 best batsmen out the crease. I think New Zealand would have still felt a little bit ahead just because England looked really mentally drained. It was a really hot afternoon. They had a fair few misfields and blunders in the field. So mentally, it looked like New Zealand were ahead. But yeah, 80 for 3 in a session is probably not ideal considering the start they had.
Okay, so after tea, there were 6 wickets lost, but there were also a lot of runs scored.
Yeah,
it was weird. Tell me about it.
yeah, yeah. So as I said before, sort of felt like we were having a normal test match for the first time in the Blue Moon. But yeah, the evening session, I think it was around 150 for 6. In the end, it was just so chaotic as the trend has been throughout this series. As I say, Williamson was the first to go with that unfortunate wicket. Then Mitchell, who took 20 balls to get off the mark, then seemed to try and kick on, but Ben Stokes took a great catch. Gus Atkinson brought up his 50th wicket in just 11 matches, with Ben Stokes sort of diving forward from mid-on to dismiss Mitchell. The sprinkler's back on. Tom Blundell, hold on, I should be fine. Tom Blundell couldn't capitalise on the form that he got. I'm not going to be fine. Oh, I'm just going to move over.
It adds a bit of spice when the sprinklers keep you on the move, I must say.
Yeah, well, I've been hunted around by these sprinklers all this time. I've pretty much made it all the way around the boundary, right? But yeah, as I was saying, Blundell couldn't capitalise on the 100 he got in Wellington. He only made 21. He looked all right, but Jacob Bethel took an amazing catch. I mean, he just looks so good in the field. His ground fielding today was spectacular, but yeah, good catch at cover, sort of diving midair down to his right to dismiss Blundell for 21.
Pretty ordinary ball, has to be said. Was way wide of the off stump.
Ordinary ball, but I think Cast deserved it because he'd been working really hard out in the sun. But yeah, as I say, Bethel, pretty amazing there. Glenn Phillips, he's just looked completely off colour with bat and ball this whole series. He only made 5 off 10 deliveries. Potts got that wicket. Zach Crawley called it sort of like a deep backward, sort of like a 3-quarter backward point position. And then, yeah, Matt Henry fell not soon after that. Mitch Santner, coming in for the first time since India, like Will Young, looked pretty comfortable. He was doing the press conference at the end, and he started off a little bit scratchy. So he thought, right, I'm just going to play some shots. And he's got a great experience in like T20 franchises, played for CSK in the IPL for a while. And yeah, he just took on the short ball. Ben Stokes, Brandon Cass, all the bowlers actually went to the short ball, and Santner dispatched it. He ended on 50 not out, with 7 4s and 2 6s. And then Tim Southey came in to a guard of honour, which I thought was a bit, I don't know, it seemed like England thought that would be the last time he would have to bat. But yeah, he walked out to a guard of honour on 95 Test 6s and left on 98 Test 6s, equal with Chris Gale now. He got a quick 23 off 10, dispatched Ben Stokes for a couple 6s, and then Gus Atkinson's first ball with a new ball was slotted over mid-wicket for another 6. And then Will O'Rourke came in, only faced 2 balls and blocked it out. So yeah, New Zealand ended on 315 for 9, 82 overs today, which has been a lot better than the past over rates as well.
Still not great. Still 8
No.
overs short. Um,
Well,
so
yeah.
New Zealand were what 212 for 6, 231 for 7. Certainly get the feeling that England dropped the ball a bit towards the end in terms of giving them bowling that was easier to hit, a lot of short pitch bowling that wasn't aimed at the stumps. And yeah, they bought the wickets in the end, but it was not good looking stuff from England for quite a while there, was it?
Yeah, well, Ben Stokes, as I said, he's bowled 23 overs today, the most he's bowled since 2022. He obviously looked massively tired, but as he does, he wants to be the one to take the big workload on himself. So he was bowling the short ball from the recently renamed Tim Southee end temporarily, which has a really short leg side boundary to a right-handed batsman, and he just kept on going in short and pretty easy pickings for Southee to clear the road there. So that looked a little bit lackluster. And yeah, so England were forced to take the new ball at the first chance they could, and that didn't really work out. They seemed a little bit devoid of ideas, and as they always do, they always stick with the short ball. And today it didn't work, but hopefully, yeah, tomorrow they'll try and just wrap up that final wicket.
Well, and possibly a particular point worth noting, the last ball of the day, as it was being called on Guerilla Cricket, Tony Bishop asked Grubby what he thought the odds were of Santner getting to 50 with a 6 off the last ball. And Grubby said, 50 to 1. Immediately whacked for 6 over, I think, long on. It was weird stuff today. It really was odd cricket in that final session in particular. But at the end of it, New Zealand in 315 for 9, which is about the average on this ground. My own feeling was that if to have a chance, they needed to score 400. But what's the general feeling about that as a first day score?
Yeah, I'd agree that 400, not on the first day, but 400 as a first innings lead is probably what you'd want. I don't think you need all of those runs. This pitch is expected to turn a fair bit, and obviously New Zealand called up Santner, so they've got Santner and Phillips, and they can obviously turn to Ravinder. So 315 for 9, obviously they'd probably want another 50 more for that first innings, but they did well to sort of stomp on, I guess, the sort of momentum that England had. And as I said earlier, if you bowl first, you've got to get that team out in the first day. So I'd say England will be marginally ahead in terms of sort of where the score is, but I mean, you could say the honours are even just with the way that the day finished.
Yeah. Anything of interest coming out of the press conferences at the end of the day?
Not really. Maddie Potts was doing it for England. Obviously, a bit of Ashes chat. He really wants to be there. Spoke a little bit about sort of him and Bryden Cast, both Durham quicks, but they seemed to have a bit of a tiff going on when the other was fielding and the other was bowling. Said that was just a bit of a heat of the moment thing. Mitch Santner, he just said he's going to try and hit as many sixes as possible early tomorrow morning, and is looking forward to bowling, especially in that fourth innings when the wicket's expected to not crack up, but it'll offer a bit more spin. So yeah, that was about it.
So it was interesting to see after the first 2 tests where we had full houses, with the rubber already determined, we had a significant gaps in the crowd today. Was there the same sort of atmosphere, or was it a bit flat for New Zealand today?
Well, unfortunately, we couldn't really hear the atmosphere. You could hear like the trumpeter and the tannoy and stuff, but in the sort of box that we are in, it's got noise cancelling windows, which is a bit of a shame. So it's almost like you're watching it on TV. But I did walk around at tea, fancy dress day, so I went down to watch that with the Barmy Army, and it seemed all right. I mean, noticeably less people there, a lot of gaps, not in the grass banks, but in the stands. So yeah, I assume that the atmosphere was a little bit less, but England have won the series, so it's understandable.
Yeah. And how can I put this? England, if you like, lost their mojo a bit in the final test in the English summer against Sri Lanka. Is there a sense of the same sort of thing today or not?
No, I don't think so. That was bit of a worry going into today because obviously Sri Lanka, they seemed a little bit complacent having won the series, and it was sort of lining up to be a similar thing with England skipping the sort of 2 days training they had and just doing the one session yesterday. So it looked to be that way, but I think it was just really tough out in the field today. It was boiling hot. The wicket looked pretty good to bat on, especially after that morning session. But yeah, I think the heat, obviously they haven't really, well, Pakistan, but the heat probably got to their heads a little bit. But yeah, I don't think they'll be feeling too disappointed heading into tomorrow.
Okay, so you reckon bat honours even at the moment?
Yeah, if anything, England's slightly ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'd agree. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Hector. It's been a great report. We look forward to being with you again tomorrow, and hopefully you stay out of the sun because it does sound pretty uncomfortable when you're out there. Thanks very much, mate.
Thanks, Bessie.
And now it's time for Guerilla.